Larry King now, the Dalai Lama, one of the world's most recognizable spiritual leaders, on turning 80.
Recently, I met one German specialist for knees. Then after he checked, then he told me, your knees now degenerate. There's not much to do.
On his digital push to encourage compassion.
Compassion means it's a sense of concern of others' well-being and respect others' life. When you have that sort of conviction, impossible to bully others, to cheating others, to killing others.
On a world in turmoil.
Our problem, our struggle, a struggle between power of gun and power of truth. For short term, power of gun is more decisive, more effective. But long term, power of truth is much stronger.
Plus, Freddie Gonzalez on Facebook, do you believe that Earth is the only planet in space that has life?
No.
All next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now. We're on the road with a Nobel Prize winner and one of the world's most recognized spiritual leaders, the 14th Dalai Lama. He is celebrating his 80th birthday with a trip to the United States for a global compassion summit. And along with his friends, he's leading a campaign that encourages people to document acts of compassion on social media in recognition of this milestone birthday. It's always an extreme pleasure to welcome him, and we've had many interviews. It's good to see you again. We age together. I am 81. You are 80.
Oh.
How does it feel to be 80?
When I look back, my sort of life, I think, firstly, say my own practice. I think now, at now age 80 years old, you see, decade by decade, some sort of development.
Do you feel 80?
80? Recently, I met one German specialist for knees. Then after he checked, then he told me, you are not 18 years old, but 80-year-old. So your knees now degenerate. There's not much to do. So that reminds me, I'm now 80 years old person.
Are you going to need surgery?
No.
No? It's good. So what do you...
So then of course, you see, as a sort of practitioner, as one of the believer, we practice altruism or compassion. So then I make sort of some effort to promote affection or loving kindness, not based on religious belief. Simply, we are human beings. Basic human nature is more compassionate nature.
But
so therefore, you see, I'm trying to make awareness, or we all have the same potential. And the warm-heartedness is the key factor to bring inner strength, inner peace.
Do you think it helps you to live longer by living a compassionate life?
Yes, there's no question. Now some doctors, physicians also used to say, opposite constant anger, fear, eating our immune system. So, on the other hand, more compassionate mind, you see, very good for sustain our health. So, I think sometimes I sort of jokingly telling people whether you see peace of mind really helpful for health, judge my face.
Look at that face. All right, what do you eat 3 meals a day? Do you eat meat? Do you eat healthy?
Or as a Buddhist monk, you see, no dinner,
No dinner.
No dinner.
Do you meditate every day?
Oh yes, of course. About 5 hours.
5 hours?
5 hours.
When you see terrible events, when you see a man shoot up a church in South Carolina,
Yes.
don't you question your faith? Don't you question your own compassion and stuff that people would do this to people?
That factor actually confirms us we need more effort to make awareness the value of compassion. Compassion means it's a sense of concern of others' well-being and respect others' life. When you have that sort of conviction, impossible to bully other, to cheating other, to killing other.
But when you see it happening,
So that's lacking. We are lacking.
Don't you think the message is failing?
No. You see, message not properly channelized. The message of love just inside the church, not day-to-day life. And I have strong sort of view in education field, from kindergarten up to university level. We should include some lesson about the inner value with more sort of awareness, so more sort of what's the explanation or study about map of mind or map of emotion. Then the society who come through that kind of education would be more different. This present, up to now, the existing modern education,
Right.
very much oriented about material value, not much talking about inner value.
Agreed.
So not adequate. You are
Well said.
1 year old than me, so do you agree that?
I agree, and I am wiser.
Oh yes, yes.
I've
you
lived
have-
longer. Yeah, that'll
You,
be
you
today.
have more experience, yes.
Yeah.
But your experience, more materialistic experience.
Yeah, I didn't learn that in school. Last week, you met with former President George W. Bush, ahead of the World Affairs Council in Dallas. You're very close with him.
Yes.
He has a birthday the same as yours, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
You said you admire him for his lifelong commitment to liberty and democracy. Has he had a lifelong commitment to Tibet?
Right, right. Our friendship, you see, all those years, never changing, never changing.
That's good.
I love him as a human being. But some of his policy matter, I frankly told him, you see, some of your policy matter is concerned, I have some reservation. He laughing. Even, you see, he's still president. After Iraq crisis, you see, happened, another opportunity meeting with him in White House. Then I told him, I love you, I respect you, but some of your policies concerned, I have some reservation.
We'll be right back. More with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. When we come back, don't go away. We're back with His Holiness the Dalai Lama celebrating his 80th birthday. Happy birthday, by the way. I didn't say happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
And many more. You've been in exile since 1959.
Right.
Help me with something, because time flies and we forget. Why did China exile you?
Oh, that's a long history.
Don't go that
19.
long. Just give me simply.
Oh, simple. The Chinese forces came to Tibet in the name of liberation, liberate from very dark, dark, backward, and feudal. So in principle, that's good. Then, you see, they try to control every Tibetan life, including our education, our spirituality. Then they, you see, instead of listen or instead of sort of investigate on the spot, they simply you see, impose their belief and backed by force. Then things become worse and worse and worse. So 1954 autumn, I went to Peking. I have several times meeting with Chairman Mao Zedong. At that time, I really developed great hope and confidence. We can work under the leadership of Chairman Mao Zedong. And actually, I may share one of sort of my view. As far as socio-economic theory is concerned, I'm Marxist. Still, I'm Marxist.
You are a Marxist.
so dangerous person in the capitalist country. So I really, you see, admire the concept of socialism. But then, eventually, in China proper, you see, then things become very difficult. Totalitarian sort of suppression. And Tibet also.
They exiled you in 59.
Then 1958, 59, things become out of control. Then there is no other option except escape. So.
And you've never been back?
No.
Do you see any chance of China and Tibet ever? You ever see Tibet getting autonomy?
I believe. You see now, look, you see the new president, Xi Jinping,
right.
He publicly sort of expressed Buddhism, very important part of Chinese culture.
So you're hopeful?
Yes.
But Chinese, they're posting warnings not to celebrate your birthday.
Oh yes, the hardliner, I think that's quite logical from their viewpoint. Is some of the officials describe me as a demon. So they should discourage birthday of demon.
What are they afraid of? What are you?
Truth. I stand, no matter how difficult it is, always my own sort of what's the matter of principle, truth, honest, transparent, and not seeking independence or separation. Within People's Republic of China, it's a meaningful autonomy. That is safeguard for preservation of Tibetan identity, Tibetan language, Tibetan rich cultural heritage, like that.
So you're optimistic?
Basically, yes. I sometimes used to describe our problem, our struggle, a struggle between power of gun and power of truth. For short term, power of gun is more decisive, more effective. But long term, power of truth is much stronger.
You speak of compassion and love, and yet you see what goes on in the world. How do you remain optimistic? How do you look at things?
My optimistic about the happy world, compassionate world is basic human nature is more compassionate. Because you see, our life starts with mother's affection.
Right.
And then now scientists, they also you see, found calm mind very much related with compassionate mind. So for our own also the interest or physical health, you need peace of mind. So sometimes we call also the healthy mind, healthy body, very close link. So therefore, you see, if we think so objectively, then human nature is more compassionate, and happiness, joyfulness, very much related with our inner value, not matters like that.
Coming up, the birthday wish of His Holiness is a world with more compassion. How is that achieved with all the international turmoil? How do we do it? We'll find out next. We're back with His Holiness the Dalai Lama celebrating his 80th birthday, and he's just one of the great figures in the world. It's an honor to know him. I've been interviewing him many times over the years. It's always a joy to see him. You have said the world will be more peaceful with women in leadership roles, right?
Right, right. That I believe.
Does that mean you're going to support people like Hillary Clinton? Are you going to get involved in the American election?
No.
No.
The political matter,
Out.
I absolutely sort of neutral.
Why do you think more women will help us in leadership?
Again,
Without
according to
endorsing.
scientists,
Yeah.
you see, female biologically more sensitivity about others' pain than men. So sometimes I really feel the leadership of our planet, you see, more female takes the responsibility, maybe less violence.
Speaking of compassion, in all the times we've talked, were you close with your mother?
Oh yes, very much. My mother, uneducated, just a farmer, illiterate, but very, very kind mother. So sometimes, and of course I naturally, at that time, I was the youngest. So she very much sort of, very, very kind to me. So as a villager's child, there's nothing to play these things. So my mother used to carry me on her shoulder. Then I enjoy that. When she used to go to some farm work, I always used to see on her shoulder. Then eventually, I treated my mother almost like that was a horse. So I catch, I hold.
You rode her.
I hold, you see, mother's ear. And I want to go this side, I go that. This side, go that. If not to follow my instruction, then I shout, and my 2 feet, bang, 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 like that.
Did she live a long life, your mother?
Oh yes, I think over 80 years.
All right.
Very, very kind. I think her children, I think almost never saw angry face, my mother. Really wonderful.
All right, you're 80. We don't get younger. What about your successor? Who is the next Dalai Lama?
That's not my business. Actually, as early as 69, on my formal sort of statement, I mentioned the very institution of Dalai Lama should continue or not up to Tibetan people.
You want the people to choose the next Dalai?
Yes. So therefore, you see, these up to Tibetan people, when you see Tibetan people, majority of people feel this is now no longer much relevant, then it automatically ceases. Then as far as sort of political matter is concerned, as I mentioned earlier, I voluntarily retired like that.
Okay. Do you pray to God?
God in what sense?
In what sense do you see God? Is there a God?
There is, let's say, the theistic religions, their fundamental sort of faith is creator, God,
Right.
as a creator. Then non-theistic religion, that's, you see, one ancient Indian religion, the Sanskrit word, the Sankhya philosophy, then Jain philosophy, then Buddhist philosophy. These three, no concept of God, creator. Of course, Buddha, as a Buddhist, we consider Buddha as a teacher.
Teacher, not a God.
Not God, not creator. So, some kind of the concept of self-creation there. The Buddha stated, you are your own master. So everything depends on yourself.
Do you believe in reincarnation?
Yes, I believe.
So you
reincarnation or rebirth. Rebirth we believe. According to many Indian tradition, you see, we have the concept of rebirth.
So you lived before?
Oh yes. You see, according theistic religion, this very life created by God. That also very powerful concept. So that concept, you see, bring some kind of feeling of intimacy with God. So then, what is God? I think one aspect of definition of God is infinite love. So we actually created by that kind of infinite love. So that brings some kind of conviction. I have seed of compassion. So that's very, very powerful.
Do you hope to meet Pope Francis?
Oh yes, of course.
What do you think of him?
Oh, nice, very nice. I think very practical.
All right, the Global Compassion Summit. Are you doing this all over, or is it only here?
Different occasion, different place.
You think most people are naturally compassionate?
Yes, I believe
You
that.
do. You have faith in that.
Now some scientists also say that through their investigation. They believe, they concluded basic human nature is more compassionate.
And you feel compassion to those who've harmed you?
Oh yes, of course. That's the compassion which we are talking is unbiased compassion. Usually also even animal, some kind of closeness feeling towards your own relatives, your own friend, that's biased compassion. That kind of compassion cannot extend towards your enemy because that compassion, you see, very much oriented about others' attitude. So genuine compassion through training, that is irrespective what others' attitude, but still as a human being or as a sentient being, they deserve our compassion.
When we come back, the Dalai Lama will answer some social media questions. Stay right with us. We're back with some more moments with His Holiness the Dalai Lama on his 80th birthday. The last time I talked to you was in February of last year. You came out in support of marriage equality. The Supreme Court has now said same-sex marriage is okay. You have no question about that, do you?
No question. Of course, those believers, then I think according to their own religious tradition, I think should follow that. But then ordinary people, you see, and those people who not much serious about their religious tradition, then okay.
We have some social media questions. From Twitter, Lotus Flower wants to know, how many wristwatches do you own? Also, do you feel we should live our lives on a schedule with time?
Yes, this particular watch, I think in early 60, my my translator, actually appointed by government of India, one Sikkimese, you see.
Gave you that watch?
This watch, I exchanged. You see, I got one gold sort of watch, what called
Gold
this?
bracelet.
Something. I never wear that kind of watch. So then this watch, old, but day and date. So I exchanged with him.
So you follow time. All right, Annie Smith on Facebook would love to know if the Dalai Lama has ever been in love, and how do you live without love without a partner? Have you ever been in love with a woman?
Yes, sometimes this is when I see beautiful women, then feel, oh, beautiful, but never felt, you see, some kind of actual work.
Physical love. You never felt that?
So even, you see, in my dream, as a monk, as a celibate.
Celibate.
You see?
You've been celibate all your life.
Yes. When in my dream, you see, about quarrel or about, you see, meeting some beautiful sort of women like that, then immediately I remember I'm monk. So in my mind, monkhood is the dearest. In my dream, I never felt I'm Dalai Lama, but I often used to felt I'm monk. So I really proud, and especially so those people who always talk about sex, and also marry, divorce, again marry, divorce.
You got
and
a point.
I feel,
all right, don't rub it in. Do you think you've missed something though?
No, nothing.
No?
Nothing.
Scott Stenheim on Twitter, after 2,000 years of civilization, haven't we learned that humans can't be trusted with the power of religion? That humans have failed?
Please.
Don't you think the human beings have failed? Mark Twain thought that. That we failed. Billy Graham says we failed. We haven't. We've taught humanity, the religions of the world teach us humanity,
okay.
but we haven't lived that. We've had war.
I think religion, all major religion, including Buddhism, over 2,000 years, I think immense help to humanity, but not adequate, particularly now today.
So help, but not enough.
Out of 7 billion, over 1 billion non-believer. And then more important, among the believers, there are corrupted believers there. So this clearly shows religious teaching not adequate. So now we have to find another way to educate people the importance of these inner value, not relying on religion, but more secular way. That I fully committed.
Jenny Merkel on Facebook, if you could have dinner with anyone, living or dead, who would it be?
Who not emphasize importance of formality, is showing as a human being, then I love that. You see, too much formality, I don't like.
Wouldn't you like to have dinner with Christ?
Christ, one time, some sort of questioner asked me if you have opportunity meeting with Jesus Christ and what question you ask him. Then I felt I would like to ask what is God? His Father or Holy Spirit. I would like to know more.
Me too. And Freddie Gonzalez on Facebook, do you believe that Earth is the only planet in space that has life?
No. Of course, many, Buddhist sort of literature mentioned countless worlds, countless sort of, galaxies. So then, I think if we use our common sense, then out of sort of countless sort of galaxies and the planet, only this planet have, you see, human being. I think difficult to say.
I agree. What do you think, as you look back on your life, what's your greatest accomplishment? What are you proudest of?
I don't know, difficult to say. Sometimes I feel, you see, since now I think over 30 years, I have serious discussion with scientists. And usually I call Buddhist science a dialogue between Buddhist science and modern science. I think nobody initiated that. I think one of my sort of achievement.
You opened up the dialogue.
Then another thing, in Tibetan case, is a nunnery. Is in recent centuries, I think at least a few centuries, is no sort of the tradition carry rigorous study. That after we come to reach India, I think in 60s and early 70s, then I decided, I urged all nunnery, you see, should start rigorous study. Now after 20, 30 years, you see, some nuns already become top scholar. That also, I feel, my achievement.
Do you fear death?
No, it is part of nature, part of our life. Sooner or later, you come. Actually, in my daily practice, is visualization, the death process. Suppose some preparation, when actual death come. But actual death come, whether I can success this practice or not, I don't know.
I don't know that. Thank you, Your Holiness. Always an honor to be with you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
My guest, His Holiness, a wonderful man, a great guest, the Dalai Lama.